Hey everyone, I'm going to wait for a few people to get here because this is going to go live. I was having some connection problems earlier, so hopefully my internet stays up. We are going to be going over the Jamie Lynn Spears petition that was leaked yesterday to the blast. So can you guys see my screen? Depop this? I was having some connection issues earlier. Can you guys see what's on my screen? Okay. I think it's working. I can see what y'all are saying. Okay, cool. All right, great. Well, this is going to be eventually put up on Instagram or IGTV. So I am going to just get started now and people can loop back to the beginning. So I think what's going to end up having to happen on this is I'm going to have to do 2 lives. The first live is going to just be me going over the court document. The next live I do, I'll go over the attachments from Fidelity because they're very, very in-depth. This is a 70-page long document, so we're going to go through it in parts, I think. Oh gosh, I'm scared. Okay, so I did get a few questions. I'm going to try to answer them as I go through this. This is just going to be the first kind of pass through the things that really jumped out to me the first time when I was skimming it. All right, so we do have, in that bitch, yeah, you know what I'm doing. All right. Okay, so we have 20 people here. We can go ahead and get started. All right, so first let's start with the title of the document that I have highlighted here. It's called Petition, right? So this is a petition for an order from the court. What would that order be doing? It would be instructing the trustee, which is Jamie Lynn Spears, to deposit trust funds, or assets rather, into a blocked account. And we'll get into what some of that stuff means as we go along. So I have highlighted here in pink, hopefully you guys can see, just like the different names we're going to be seeing as we go through the document, just so that y'all can keep track of who's who. So Jamie Lynn Spears is called the petitioner. So anytime we see petitioner, we're going to know that means Jamie Lynn Spears. And then what do we see on number 1? That says petitioner is the trustee of SJB Revocable Trust. They're calling that SJB Trust. So anytime we see SJB Trust, we know this is called a definition. We know that they're talking about this. Anytime we see the word petitioner, we know they're talking about Jamie Lynn Spears. And anytime we see the word trustee, we know that they're also talking about Jamie Lynn Spears. And then we have Britney Jean Spears, the settlor with an O-R, if y'all can see that. So let's see. Will this be discussed in September or a future hearing? Hard to say. I don't think that this will be discussed necessarily unless it relates in some way to the other things they're discussing on the September hearing, which is reappointing Andrew Wallet as co-conservator of the estate. So back to these definitions. We have settlor, which is Britney Jean Spears, and conservatee is also Britney Spears. So if we see settlor or conservatee, we know that means Britney Spears. And then what are they telling us? She is the sole beneficiary of the trust. So I made a TikTok earlier about this and I posted it on Instagram, but beneficiary means that it's Britney Spears' money and nobody else has the right to spend it or withdraw it or do anything with it. Now, does that mean that they didn't in fact withdraw it or do anything with it? I have no way to know that. But on paper, legally, it is Britney Spears' money and it is only supposed to be her who's beneficiary of this trust. Now, a lot of people were asking, what does this have to do with Britney's 2 children, her 2 sons? To my knowledge so far, and we'll get to this part when we get there, but I don't believe that those boys were ever beneficiaries of this particular trust, and I have more answers on that as we go. Then we have conservator of the estate for settlor is James Spears. Jamie Spears is conservator. So anytime we see conservator, we're going to know they're talking about Jamie. All right. So now I want to start getting into some of the, nitty gritty, I suppose. We see here initial successor trustee. Upon the appointment, so whenever these 2 guys were appointed, Andrew Wallet and Jamie Spears as co-conservators, if y'all will remember, that was in 2008. So when that happened, Britney, settlor or conservatee, remember, Britney was rendered legally unable to serve as trustee of the trust, and pursuant to some documents, Ivan Tabak, or I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. It could be Tabak. I'm not sure. Someone correct me if I'm saying it wrong. But he was the trustee of the trust as of 2008. Ivan Tabak. Okay. So was this supposed to be underlined? Some of this stuff, like this PDF, was just going crazy. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be underlined. My bad. Okay. So now you see number 8. Appointment of Jamie Lynn Spears as second successor trustee of the SJB Trust. As y'all probably know by now, that actually happened in 2018. Now, let's scroll up again real quick and see what is the date of this document. This one is dated November 2nd, 2020, which hasn't happened yet. So then that made me think maybe they meant like February 11th, 2020. But I think that this is like, I don't know, dated wrong. If anybody else knows like why this might be dated like so far in the future, please let me know. I really could only speculate. Yeah, that Britney song, I don't know what that's about. Sorry, y'all. I really don't know what that's about, but maybe this is like prepared for them to, I really don't know. I have a few theories, but I don't want to say them yet because I really am just not sure. Okay, where were we? We were here. So, appointment of Jamie Lynn Spears happened of this trust actually in the First Amendment or whatever of the trust, or Second Amendment, something like that. And we will get to it. But it was in 2018. Sorry, I'm not seeing how crooked I'm holding my phone. Yeah, maybe a future court date. And why was it named 2018 to Jamie and why not? No, exactly. Jess in Z56. I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, the timing of this, if this is supposed to be filed in November, I don't know why it's being filed now. And I don't know why Jamie was appointed in 2018. Like, a lot of the dates don't add up. I'm trying to think through it myself. Okay. So number 9 puts a little bit of a rule in place. It's titled blocked account in lieu of bond. And in lieu of just kind of means like instead of or in the place of. So the First Amendment provides the following. Instead of a bond, Jamie Lynn Spears shall at all times, shall means must in the law. It means there's no option, like you better do it. So at all times, Jamie Lynn must maintain the assets of the trust at either a California trust company or a financial institution in one or more blocked accounts. So blocked accounts mean like it's a certain designation where you really aren't supposed to like do a bunch of stuff with it. There's only certain things you can do and has to be with court approval. And it has to, fulfill under these requirements, probate code sections 23, 28, 24, 56. I tried to start reading those, but they're really convoluted and it's going to take me a little longer to go through them. But all blocked accounts must be held on the express condition that anything in those accounts cannot or will not be withdrawn except if the court authorizes it prior to that withdrawal, right? And then I just highlighted again to reiterate, like as long as no funds are withdrawn. So it's really important that these funds aren't withdrawn. This is going to be important with my big like aha conclusion later, and y'all are definitely going to want to hear it. All right, so what is this petition asking to do? If this petition is, no, I do not think they're planning to kill her. I do not think that. So no one start that rumor from this channel. If this petition, if granted, will allow Jamie Lynn Spears in her capacity as trustee to establish one or more blocked accounts in compliance with that First Amendment. So what is she trying to do? She's trying to establish blocked accounts that she can transfer some money from the trust into, right? That's what she's asking for. So who did they select as a custodian? Okay. Jamie Lynn Spears selected Fidelity Brokerage Services to serve as custodian. Ooh, doesn't that sound familiar to y'all? If y'all have watched my TikTok videos and my Instagrams, especially like Twitter the last day or two, you will remember that Stonebridge Investment Counsel had about $125 million assets under management. That means dollars in their management portfolio. In 2020, which was this year, $600+ million appeared into that into Stonebridge, right? But if y'all will remember, and this is, if you don't, keep up with this, that's totally fine. This is for the people who like really are like into the financial part of it. If not, just stick around. We'll get through the document. But if you'll remember, 600 million or so of those dollars, about $601 million of that new 620 million that came into Stonebridge took that 601 million and transferred it into what's called a custodial account. And who was the custodial account, or the custodian at that time? Fidelity, okay? So what is this telling me? This is telling me that Jamie Lynn Spears is asking a court of law to allow her to take money from Britney Spears' trust and put it into Fidelity as a custodial account. Well, you'll see at the end of this document that all of this falls into place because the person that Jamie Lynn Spears has chosen as the investment advisor for this account, for this court order, is Stonebridge Wealth Management, which is Lou Taylor's old firm, where Mitch Martin manages that firm, and Mitch Martin works with Lou Taylor at TriStar Sports. So this is just a ring of people that continue to push money from one place to another place, and they all know each other. I also have a speculation that Lou Taylor tries very hard to make it seem as though she does not have any connection to Stonebridge Investment Counsel, because she did allow her license to either lapse or expire, or is no longer registered as an investment advisor. So if y'all are super confused, I really honestly, this is like about as simple as I can make it without making allegations. Because if I were to make allegations, then I could get in trouble. But I'll put it this way. Some people may speculate that Lou Taylor has directed Jamie Spears to move Britney's money, $600 million or so dollars, without getting court authorization before doing that, okay? I'm not saying that is what happened, but I'm saying that people are speculating that based on the fact that we don't have an order yet from a judge telling Jamie Lynn that she's allowed to do that. But yet we do have several $100 million that have been gone into Lou Taylor's old investment firm, and 600 of those $1 million is in this exact place. So it looks like it's possible that they moved Britney's money prematurely in violation of the law and in violation of what they agreed to do. I'm not saying that is what happened, but I'm saying it is possible. Okay. Let's see. So here we have Fidelity will, as instructed by Stonebridge, right? Remember, this is Stonebridge Wealth Management, Lou Taylor's old firm. Fidelity will, as instructed by Lou Taylor's old firm, also deduct fees payable to Lou Taylor's old firm on the blocked accounts. Okay, so that just tells me that Lou Taylor's old firm, called Stonebridge, can tell Fidelity what fees they want deducted, and Fidelity will say, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So that means Lou Taylor's old firm is making money in fees, and nobody is, overseeing that except Fidelity and Lou Taylor's old firm, if that makes sense. Okay. Such fees shall be agreed upon this is a great sentence. Y'all are going to like this one. These fees will be agreed upon by who? Jamie Lynn and Lou Taylor's old firm. Oh my God. Okay. So that's fun, right? Let's see. Okay. So Fidelity brokered services, right? Fidelity again is the custodian. Okay. So that just goes to show, and we do know, right, for those people who do know about financial stuff, Fidelity is the custodian for the $601 million as of 2019 or 2020. So Stonebridge has $601 million assets under management that they have with a custodian called Fidelity, just for those who do definitely know about like the financial stuff. Okay. So again, can't be withdrawn without a written order. They will also deduct fees payable to Lou Taylor's old firm called Stonebridge. Yeah, I know. I have someone kind of working on the the calculations of the fees. I'm not like that great in fee calculations. Like I really don't know what I'm doing with that. So, but I do have someone calculating the fees based on what we speculate. Okay. So, I thought this was interesting. Lynn Spears' attorney's name, if anybody is interested in doing any research on who that is, and this other guy, Gladstone Jones. All right. So again, petitioner prays or is asks or is the fees are clarified in a kind of complicated brochure in the back. HLEB 91. If you know how to decipher that type of document, send me a DM and I can send you the brochure thing from the back. But yeah, the fees are clarified. I don't really have any idea how to start calculating them, to be honest. Okay, so Fidelity is going to be the custodian, fees payable to investment advisor. I'm going through the things that I highlighted that I thought were important. Again, they're really very adamant that nobody can withdraw money from, any of the trusts unless the court specifically authorizes it. Okay, so so here we go again. Another weird thing about the date timeline. She signed this verification on August 18th, 2020. So that was really just like a week ago. This is Jamie Lynn Spears has signed this. So this does seem to be a document that has not been actually filed yet with the court. So if it is the case that they've transferred any money from the trust, then they would have been in violation of, what they promised that they would do. So now we're going to get to a few exhibits that I think are important. Exhibit A is an order granting petition for a substituted judgment. Okay, what does that mean? This is where the court had granted an order that they previously had petitioned for, and that petition was for, not Jamie Lynn, for Jamie and what's his name, Andrew Wallet, to act as the trust, the substituted judgment for trustees. So this is not really a big deal. It doesn't actually matter what this is, but this just kind of plays into what we already knew, which is Andrew Wallet and Jamie Spears were kind of in charge of this, right, before Jamie Lynn was. This is kind of more nitty gritty type stuff. If anybody's interested in going through things not granted and conspiracy theories at a later time, we can just remind me. Okay. Then Exhibit B. Okay. Now we have the First Amendment to the SJB Revocable Trust. That is, and sorry, this is all highlighted. My computer totally freaked out and highlighted everything, and I just couldn't figure out how to unhighlight it, and now it looks like this. So just bear with me. So First Amendment to the SJB Trust, this is where it kind of lays out what had happened, which was Britney Spears had established this trust in 2004, and then Ivan Tabak had been serving as the sole trustee, and then they appointed Jamie Lynn Spears to serve as the next trustee. So, God, I wish this wasn't all highlighted. That's so annoying. I'm sorry, y'all. So then they make a couple amendments, and this amendment is where they do finally talk about Britney's kids. And I know Ryan, Britney the Sagittarius, had asked me, how do the kids fit in here? And so we're going to look at this paragraph here. And it says Britney Spears is unmarried and is living in the United States. So I imagine that before it had said she was married to Kevin Federline, and now it just says she was previously married to him. And she has two children living, namely Sean Preston Federline and Jaden James Federline, and they black out their birthdays. And it's, settlers' children refer to those two kids and any kids that she may have in the future. And at the time, the settler, which means Britney Spears, has no other children living or deceased. So I expected to see that the boys, Jaden and Sean Preston, were beneficiaries of this trust, because I had assumed that SJB meant Sean, Jaden, Britney, but it is actually the case that they are not beneficiaries of this trust. Britney Spears is the only beneficiary. Then they make another amendment about the settler's death. So I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people were freaking out and saying this is crazy, they're planning for her death, they're going to kill her off, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go so far as to say that. This is a pretty normal and ordinary thing. So let's say Britney Spears wasn't under a conservatorship, right? She could still appoint someone to be a trustee of her trust. Trusts can have many trustees. They can have more than one trustees. And, more than one trustee. And you can also have more than one beneficiary. So it could have conceivably been the case that Britney, Sean Preston, and Jaden James were all beneficiaries of this trust. a lot of people were freaking out and saying like they're planning for her death. This is something that you would absolutely expect to see in a trust, paperwork and certainly, because it is several $1 million conceivably, right? So we need somebody to be able to tell us what to do with those millions of dollars after the person were to pass away. And I understand why, y'all are concerned, and there is a lot of shady stuff going on, but I really don't think that this is one of them. I really wouldn't worry about that part of it. But interestingly, I did find reference to another trust called the BJS, so I assume Britney Jean Spears, Kids and Family Trust, to be held and administered and distributed in accordance with his terms. So I assume that so basically what happens is, if Britney Spears were to pass away, or when she is to pass away, that the money in the trust is supposed to be distributed by the trustee, which is Jamie Spears. Oh, don't look at my text messages. Let's see. You are supposed to be, okay, yeah. Sorry, people are texting me. Okay, so basically what this says is, when Britney Spears dies, she is, Jamie Lynn Spears as trustee is supposed to take all the money from the trust and do whatever, the BJS family trust tells her to do with it. We don't know what that says because we don't have that document, but that's pretty much what, all you can get out of that. So then it tells us, if this is an important part, and I think it's important to note, and I want to hate Jamie Spears as much as the rest of everyone, okay? Jamie Lynn, sorry. But this document explicitly says that it is Britney Spears' intent that during her lifetime, and if Jamie Lynn Spears is no longer serving as a trustee, what does she want to happen? So, okay, Britney Spears' intent that if during her lifetime, Jamie Lynn cannot be the trustee anymore, there will be an institutional trustee serving either as the sole trustee or co-trustee. Now, that's a lot of legal words, but what does that mean? That means that Britney has said, if Jamie Lynn is no longer trustee, she wants an institution to be the trustee of this estate. What is that inference to you say? That she does not want Jamie Spears, her dad, in charge of this. She doesn't want a human person in charge of this. She wants an institution in charge, right? It also says elsewhere in here that it is Britney's intent for Jamie Lynn to serve as sole trustee. So I'm thinking that it's possible that this was some kind of compromise, that Britney was like, I don't want Jamie in charge of this money. That was because a lot of people don't know what the SJB trust was. The SJB trust was most of Britney's assets before the 2008 conservatorship, right? So it's a lot of money in there, conceivably. So a lot of people have said, that this was some kind of a compromise, like she wanted Jamie Lynn because she was already having problems with her dad. And you know what? Based on the language in this, I could see that that's a believable theory. Imagine if JL was actually wanting to help. Well, I mean, I think it's fair for people to be suspicious of Jamie Lynn, but I mean, based on the writing in here, it doesn't look like. The one thing that I think looks a little strange based on the writing in here is that $600 million seems to very, very mysteriously add up exactly to what the terms of this trust were supposed to be. And this document has not been filed yet. So the only thing that I think could be possibly shady here is that exactly Jamie Lynn is really close to Lou Taylor. And it's possible that Lou Taylor is able to manipulate or get Jamie Lynn to sign things or do things that maybe Jamie Lynn doesn't fully understand or know about, but that is complete and total speculation. I have no reason to know that is true. And then you see James Spears, a signature here, and Andrew Wallet's. I always like to look at signatures and examine them because I have found connections before with people's handwriting. Lou Taylor. Can Britney choose who her trustee is if she's under a conservatorship? That's a great question. I don't really know the straightforward answer to that. This particular document did say that Britney, let me see if I can find it, that Britney had, one second. I think this document did say, no, I can't find it now, that Britney had consented to it and said that, Sam Ingram had, she had given her consent to Sam Ingram or something. Sorry, I lost my place. I thought I was going to find something, and then I just effed myself up here. Okay. So yeah, okay, I think this is an important thing to note from here is that, just to recap real quick again, is that that if Jamie Lynn is no longer serving as sole trustee, that Britney had expressed an intent that there would always be an institutional trustee. But I think if that was Britney's intent and to keep, Lou out of it, like she's not going to keep Lou out of it because Jamie Lynn and Lou are best friends. Like they're always on, liking each other's stuff and telling each other how much they love each other on Instagram. So if she was trying to keep like this she should have just gone straight to the institutional trustee, in my opinion. Yes, Brian was trustee of this before. Okay. Let's see, what other things did I find? Ratification of trust, except as amendment and all of it. Okay, so this sucks because I don't have the trust itself. We only have the amendment, so we can only speculate as to what it says. This is just acknowledgements, notary blocks, like when you get a notary. Okay, so interesting here. Look what it's called. Stonebridge SJB Separately Managed Trust Account. Okay. Here it is. And who do we have here? Stonebridge Wealth Management, Lou Taylor's old firm, and they are considered the investment advisor here. And then we have Fidelity Separate Account Network. Anytime you see Fidelity, just assume it's all the one. Like they're a huge investment firm. Like I think billions or trillions, like a bunch of dollars, I think billions of dollars under management, like a lot of dollars under management. So it's not like fishy or shady that they would choose Fidelity. I mean, it would be a smart choice, whatever. Let's see. I think for the rest of this, y'all, it's just like documents, like, not really fully filled out. It's just like forms that like tell you kind of like how they do certain things. You do find out here that it is a taxable cash account. But I really still, anything further, like these are those documents that I'm like, okay, I really need like an actual accounting person or like someone who's an investment banker or something. Cause this is like a little bit like outside of my understanding. It's just like blank forms that aren't filled in. So I think it's just forms, right? And it's just a bunch of this crap over and over. And then we have like at the very end, the Stonebridge, Exhibit D is the Stonebridge relationship pricing. So they list their prices. Let's see if I can turn to the side here. Does this make it worse, better? I don't know. So this is, I don't really know. Let's zoom out here. Let's do a zoom out and a rotate. Oh, look at me. Okay, there we go. I don't know what annual basis points mean. I would just be speculating and probably making myself sound stupid. So you do see it's called Stonebridge Investment Counsel, LLC here, right? Other fees charged by Custodian. But other places, they call it Stonebridge Wealth Management. So I don't want you to get confused. That's the same thing. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the United States government has called them the same company. And, you can go ahead and speculate as to why you believe they changed their names around so much. I won't do that. But I'm sure you can come up with some creative ideas. I guess I'll take a few questions just while I'm here. Let's see. I want to get back on like a screen that like matters and is cool. Oh, I went all the way to the top. Let's see. Let me get the screen on something cool so I can answer my questions and y'all can look at something that's worth it. Go back here. Here you go. That's a cute screenshot. All right. Let's see. Questions. That's why she wants Jody. How's bad for... Okay, Britney. Britney has no right to choose. I think that's probably right. What exactly is Stonebridge and what do they do? Stonebridge is it's called an intermediary firm, but what it basically does is take rich people's money and invest it places and try to make more money off of their money. So, you might take it and put it in a custodial account such as this one, and Fidelity may, invest your money in what's called a diversified portfolio. But essentially what they're doing is buying stocks So they'll take a rich person's money, let's say, Elon Musk, like someone takes Elon Musk money and then invests in, like Apple or Google or whatever. And then conceivably you buy enough of that, then those stocks will return on their investment. But you can also invest money in other ways, like private equity or venture capital. Like basically you're just like investing the money for rich people because they don't have time to do that themselves. And hopefully you're going to get them what's called a return on their investments. So Stonebridge does that type of work, but they also somehow like manage, other people's, hey, I'm on live. They somehow manage other people, like they take the people's money and also put it into these other accounts, which like I really don't understand why and how they do that. That's a little bit above my like understanding level. Can Lou access the Stonebridge money if Stonebridge is no longer hers? My assumption is probably not, or she's not supposed to be able to. Stop. My understanding is that she's not supposed to be able to, but again, we do know that she's buddies with Mitch Martin, and they work together every day, conceivably at TriStar. Wait, Stonebridge be one of the making decisions management of her funds or Fidelity? It would be Fidelity to my understanding. I don't think that Stonebridge has the authority to independently decide where that custodial money goes. And my hunch is that it's about $600 million if that is in fact Britney's money, but that's just speculation. I have no way to know if that's true or not. Why was she inviting Dr. Phil in 2008 to visit Britney? My opinion is they were already trying to work on someone to evaluate her to make her look even crazier in the media. They knew that Dr. Phil had media street cred and he could get the story out that, she was crazy. But that ended up backfiring on them because he didn't give out the story the way that they wanted. That is also just my opinion and speculation. Otherwise, I don't know why they would send someone who's not a real doctor to evaluate her. They got the judge to agree to allow more flexibility. Lynn invited Dr. Phil. Ryan is saying Lou did not invite Dr. Phil. Okay, thank you for that correction. Why was Brian pulled out as trustee? Great question. I have no idea. Who is Lou to Britney to begin with, and why is she involved? Can we get her connection? Yeah, Lou, before she was connected to Britney, was like a Hollywood manager of people's funds and business and stuff. She began managing Jamie Lynn Spears in 2007 as her business manager. When she began managing Jamie Lynn Spears in 2007 as her business manager, she became closer to the family, and that was whenever those alleged emails that Britney Spears sent to her lawyer saying, can you let him out? She sent emails to her lawyer saying, this crazy lady is stalking me. Like, what do I do? Then, 1 year later, Britney's in a conservatorship and Lou Taylor has her name all over her businesses, all over Britney's businesses. How worried should we be? I don't think that there's much to worry about here more than we've already been worried, frankly. I really don't think that the after death thing is a big deal. That's a totally standard thing for trusts. Because we really do need to know what to do with money after someone is to pass away, and it's kind of sad to think about, but in the law we really do think about after the death of people in estates all the time. It's totally common. Is this shady to me? Yes. It is, because I think that it seems like the timeline here is a little off about how things have been moving around seemingly before. But again, there could be a totally innocent explanation. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I want to keep an open mind. Where do the boys fall into this? Yeah, Ryan, they're not beneficiaries or trustees of this particular trust. There was a mention of a BJS family, kids and family trust. I believe that the children are probably beneficiaries of that trust, and the money of this trust is supposed to be distributed into that trust. Or in the same way as that trust describes. So I imagine that is the trust where the boys are the beneficiaries. So the boys don't really come into play on this one, to my knowledge. It just seems as though Britney is the only beneficiary of this particular trust, and the children were not contemplated specifically in this trust. It was in the other one that's referenced here, the BJS Kids and Family Trust. You're starting to think you should drop out of the situation because Britney seems to be more comfortable this than I realized. Lou Taylor used to work at Uptown Records in the 90s. She started in the music biz. Are there any trusts for the boys whatsoever? I speculate that there is one for the boys, but it's just mentioned here and we don't have the paperwork for the trust. How can the judge just turn a blind eye? What if she is really badly mentally ill? I mean, I think that if she were really badly mentally ill, like, that doesn't mean that she loses her constitutional rights to due process and equal protection, which in this case, unfortunately, she did. People with mental illness, people with neurocognitive disabilities are entitled to the same protection under the law as anyone else. So Britney Spears being stripped of her civil rights and her agency is, in my opinion, unacceptable and, according to the law, not supposed to happen. So that's kind of why we're here today. Big conflict of interest. TriStar is also doing Britney's accounting. Absolutely. Who is going to check if Lou's company, Stonebridge, isn't acting in her best interest? That is an excellent point, Meaner. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, love you. Still your biggest fan. If she is that mentally ill, she should be in an LPS censorship, not a probate. Another excellent point, Ryan. This is a conservatorship that pretty explicitly is for, like, dementia and, like, not being able to provide for yourself, not being able to do, spend your own money. Like, a lot of different things that, like, she should be in a conservatorship that is designed for people who have mental illness and not in a conservatorship for people, who have, like, this weird dementia. Having so many restrictions is what causing her mental illness. I've seen a lot of medical professionals, simply Dylan Keith, I've seen a lot of medical professionals who agree with you. They say that taking away someone's ability to choose for themselves for long enough kind of does make them feel as though they don't have the ability to choose for themselves. Moves that she's making seem to show she's pretty okay with certain things. What is an LPS? LPS conservatorship is a type of conservatorship for people who have mental illness, and that would conceivably be what Britney would be under, but she's not. Do you think she posts her own social media? I really don't know. I haven't been following Britney Spears really, like, until a couple months ago. Quite frankly, I wasn't, like, a stan before. I mean, I'm a huge fan now, but I don't, it's hard for me to speculate on her social media, honestly. Robin Hood, I think it's interesting Sam argued on unsealing ongoing hearings. Yes, Britney wants us to see what's going on in the docs. I also think that's interesting. So, I Killed Mary Jane, apparently at the last hearing, like last week or whatever, Sam Ingham, who's Britney's court-appointed lawyer, said that he wanted, or that Britney wanted the hearings to be unsealed. He wanted she wanted the transcript hearings to be more transparent moving forward, especially where they weren't discussing her medical information. And apparently that is what he said. The judge said, no, on this hearing, we're going to keep it sealed, but I'll hear your argument on the next hearing. So we will see. My app keeps crashing. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I feel like everything being uncovered has given Britney the strength to push along with breaking free. Without everyone bringing the truth to light, she probably had no real idea. My gut instinct is to agree. I think I agree with you, BeccaJanePhotography.com.au. You are on my same wavelength with that. Would it be retroactive and open previous ones? What do you mean, Mary Jane? I Killed Mary Jane. What do you think could be a reason Jamie Lynn was chosen? What type of shady things could happen with someone not qualified to being a trustee? Well, I think that it would, I'm kind of starting to come around. Like, I was like, ew, Jamie, what is Jamie Lynn? What are her qualifications yesterday? But I am kind of coming around to the idea that this could have been a compromise. It could have been, because at first, Britney's other sibling was the trustee, right? Brian Spears at first, I think, with that other guy, Ivan. And now it's Jamie Lynn. And it's possible that this was like we want to keep it in the family. And Britney trusted Jamie Lynn. The thing that I think could happen that's, quote, shady isn't like Jamie Lynn doing something shady. It's her not being really qualified to invest funds and her falling into trusting the wrong person or the wrong people. That's kind of what I kind of think. Have I been confronted for talking so in depth about this? I have not. I really think they have her on a lot of meds. Yeah, I mean, I know that they do have control over what meds she can take, or at least they did, and at some point. I don't know what status of that is now. Jamie claims everything should be sealed because it can cause her harm, but Britt's saying unseal it. What's in those docs? Exactly, Robin. I agree. You don't know what's fucked up when you're just living in that situation and think it's normal. Yeah, exactly. Do you think Team Z is Team Jamie? I do. You typically pick your family for a trust. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, typically you would pick someone that you trust. Yeah. You're missing that it's a process and underlying future terminations, right? She is playing it smart. Okay, yeah, I agree, Ryan. Connection to Lou and Kevin. Lou and Kevin, who? HLEB91. Kevin Federline? I don't know if they have a connection. Her last IG caption about her fans seems to show inner strength. Yeah, I agree. What do you think of the judges' authorities who are there to question, is Jamie competent enough to be? Yeah, Angel Martirosian, yes, I agree. What do I think of the judges' authorities who were there to question if Jamie competent? Seems as though there isn't really a test to see if Jamie is competent. I think they just put him in because they just trusted him, and I think that's a big problem with our legal system, because Britney has to be, given permission by a doctor, given permission by a judge and everyone to spend one penny of her own money, but, and be evaluated and everything. But I'm not sure that Jamie Spears had to be evaluated in order to take control of the money that he did not earn. So I think it's a great question. How would we get Lou investigated? We still have to find some kind of, when I say smoking gun, I mean, we have to be able to prove that she did something real, actual, illegal, and we just don't have that proof yet. So in order to prove it, we have to prove that she committed fraud, perjury, wire fraud, bank fraud. We would have to show that she money laundered. We'd have to show evidence of a crime, and I just don't think that I'm comfortable saying that we have criminal evidence just yet. But I think that we are gathering a lot of pretty circumstantial evidence that we could use, or that hopefully Britney's team that's fighting in her favor can use. Frankly, that's what I'm putting a lot of these videos out for, is I'm kind of trying to work as a paralegal in a way, for her lawyers, so they can find stuff. Is she given $1,500 a week? I've seen different numbers. I've seen $1,100. I've seen $2,000 a month. I've seen $4,000 a month. No, I've seen $1,500, $2,000, and $6,000 a month. So I really don't know how much she's given a week. Someone else, probably. Aw, thanks, Kevin. What about the rest of the money? Good question. It's probably in other blocked accounts. We don't know. What about the money that's obviously much less than it has according to all the public records? Yeah, Angel, I don't know. That's kind of the $700 million question, is where is all of the money? How much money is in this? I Killed Mary Jane. They did state that she had dementia. Yes, they did. Go see, my first Instagram live video if you want to go through that document. I know it is ironic that we're calling them Team Britney, but I hope that there are some lawyers on Lynn's team that are trying to get Britney out of here. That's all we can hope for. Is Lou violating Britney's constitutional rights? Miranda, Lou didn't violate Britney's constitutional rights. Actually, the government violated her rights, which means the court did. Private citizens can't, strictly speaking, violate other private citizens' constitutional rights. It's a right that you have against the state. It's rights that you have against your own government. So no, unfortunately, it's not enough to report her to anyone, because we don't really have legal standing. They should have doctor's proof, yes, Angel, that she has dementia. Yeah, but you're clarifying things. I'm not into USA law. Yeah. It's confusing even for me, and I have a degree. So whatever happened to the court-ordered evaluation by Judge Penny? It still hasn't been spoken about, Tiger Lily, to my knowledge. Worked with elderly people with dementia last 5 years. Britney doesn't have it. Yeah, lots of people in the medical field have been saying that. Britney Freedom. Who's her current doctor? I don't know. Okay, well, y'all, I have to go, eat dinner and, do normal human things, shower, but this was super fun, and I'll go over those fidelity documents once I have someone who knows a little bit more about it explain them to me, so I don't tell y'all anything, wrong. Could we ask Trump to say or do something? Someone does have a White House petition floating around. I think we have like enough signatures on it too, so maybe he will. All right. Thank you so much. And I will see y'all later. It was really nice to hang out and chat. Hopefully this was helpful and clarified things, and try to do another live over the next few days on those fidelity documents. See y'all later. Have a good night. Bye.